You think you know your world. You trust familiar faces, old friends, even your childhood home. But what happens when the ordinary turns on you? When silence becomes a voice, and a voice becomes something else entirely? Tonight, 4 real stories, each one a crack in reality. And if you listen closely, you might hear the sound of something watching. I had just wrapped up a trip to Austin, catching up with friends I hadn't seen in years. The kind of trip that leaves you feeling full, good food, laughter, just enough whiskey to soften the edges. I live in Louisiana, so the drive back is a long one, nearly a full day on the road. Right as I was about to head out, I got a message from Tom. We hadn't spoken in forever, not since high school, but we followed each other on Instagram. He saw my story and asked when I was leaving. I told him, today. His reply was instant. You should stop by. I'm just an hour outside the city, on your way home. There was something nostalgic about the idea, like stepping into a simpler time. I said, sure, why not? The drive to Tom's place was calm, back roads lined with trees, golden hour sunlight bleeding through the branches. When I pulled up, the place gave off an immediate vibe. Not bad, just old. The house wasn't run down, but it looked untouched, like it had been sealed in a jar since the 70s. The porch creaked as I stepped on it. Tom greeted me with a grin and a big hug. Same energy from back in the day. Some friendships pick up right where they left off. No need for small talk. He pulled me inside. And inside? It was like stepping into a time capsule. The furniture was vintage, thick with history, wood-paneled walls, a faint smell of aged wood and something earthy, like pine needles left to dry in a shed. We sat in the living room, swapping stories over whiskey. 5 p.m. turned into 8 p.m. One drink turned into, I lost count. The alcohol was warm in my veins. The room felt heavier, smaller, like the walls were closing in gently, but not in a threatening way. Just still, quiet, too quiet. Tom eventually said, "Hey man, you got a long drive. Just crash here. No point in hitting the road like this." He was right. I nodded and asked if I could sleep on the couch. "Nah," he said, "I've got a spare room." Nothing fancy, but it's better than the floor. I barely remember walking to the room. Everything felt thick and muffled. I do remember this, though. The air in that room was still, unnaturally so, like the space had been sealed, untouched. No hum of electronics, no creak of the house settling, just silence. I collapsed on the bed, lights off, head spinning, out cold. Sometime later, I woke up, dry mouth, head pounding, room dark, but not pitch black. Moonlight was slipping in through the blinds, and that's when I saw it. In the corner, by the closet door, something hanging. At first, I thought it was a coat. A black trench coat, maybe. Long, draped. But the longer I stared, the less it looked like clothing. The shape was off. Too broad at the top, like shoulders. No sway, no shift. Just standing there. My heart started racing. I didn't remember that being there when I stumbled in, but I was drunk, could have missed it. I told myself it was just a coat. Just a coat. Rolled over. Eyes closed. Tried to force sleep. But the dread in my chest wouldn't let me rest. I peeked again. Still. There. When I finally fell back asleep, it wasn't for long. What woke me wasn't discomfort. It was sound. Creak. That unmistakable sound of weight shifting on old wood. Like someone stepping softly, slowly, closer. I opened my eyes. The moonlight had faded. A dim blue dawn was creeping in. And the thing in the corner? Gone. I sat up, dizzy, heart slamming in my chest. The closet door? Closed. No coat, no figure, just air. I rushed to Tom's room, heart in my throat. He was out cold, snoring. I shook him awake, panicked, breathless. The coat. In the spare room. He blinked, confused. What coat? The black trench coat, the one hanging on the closet. He looked at me like I was speaking a different language. Dude, I don't own a trench coat. I don't even have a coat rack in that room. I stared at him, waiting for the smirk. waiting for him to say, "Gotcha." But he didn't. We went back to the room. Nothing. Empty. The silence in that room hit harder now, like it had a weight, a presence. We searched the whole house, every door, every window, nothing. Tom tried to say maybe I was half dreaming, seeing things in the dark. But I know what I saw. That wasn't a coat. That wasn't a dream. Sometimes you wake up and something's watching. But what if you never wake up in time to see it leave? Sometimes the wilderness is peaceful. Other times, it watches. I was 18 when this happened, just a simple road trip. My parents, my friend Anna, and me. It was supposed to be a fun little getaway to a theme park across the country, an 8-hour drive, some tents in the car, cheap adventure. We hadn't booked a campsite in advance, seemed like no big deal at the time. It was getting late when we rolled into town, too late to hit the park, so we just needed somewhere to sleep. That's when everything started unraveling. We checked online for campsites near the park. Everything was fully booked. A massive soccer tournament had flooded the area, so we kept looking. One after another, every site was either packed or far too expensive. Finally, we made a choice I still think about to this day. We'd camp in the wild. We found a small gravel parking lot tucked into a quiet nature reserve. Trees all around, no streetlights, just dirt, branches, and shadows. There were a few people lingering around, hikers it seemed. We asked one woman if it was safe to camp there. She smiled. "Yeah, it's fine. No one patrols this area. You'll be alone tonight." At the time, that sounded peaceful. We parked the car in the lot. My parents would take one tent. Anna and I would share another, pitched nearby. As we got out to start setting up, I noticed something. A car, parked at the far edge of the lot. Battered, faded, rusted panels. No one inside. It didn't belong. It was like someone had left it there, or had been watching. I brushed it off. We were tired. I helped my parents set up their tent, and then Anna and I got cozy in ours. Snacks, YouTube videos, TikToks, just normal stuff. We laughed, chatted, and tried to wind down. By now, it was nearing midnight. That's when we heard it. Clang. A metallic sound echoed from the far side of the lot, like metal on gravel. We both froze, looked at each other. What was that? Did someone just drop something? We went dead silent. Another sound. Thunk. Like a trunk slamming shut. It came from the same direction. The old car. We didn't dare look out the tent window, just listened, breaths shallow. Then, tires screeching. The car tore out of the lot and disappeared into the night. My heart was pounding. I texted a friend who lived nearby, told him where we were. He messaged back almost instantly. "Wait, you're by that beach? That area's dangerous, gang stuff. Don't stay there." I felt my blood run cold. 10 minutes passed. Silence returned. We started to calm down, whispering about what might have happened. That's when it came. The scream. A man's voice, screaming from the woods. Raw, desperate, violent. It wasn't human in the way we know it. It was primal. Anna and I both sat upright, clutching our sleeping bags, frozen. I texted my mom, panicked. No answer. So I called her. She finally picked up, groggy. "What? We didn't hear anything. It's fine." But I couldn't shake it. I couldn't find a single logical reason someone would be screaming like that in the woods at midnight. Then came the footsteps. Slow. Crunching softly around the tent. First near ours, then my parents'. Then by the car. They circled us. Deliberate. Silent between steps. We didn't breathe. We didn't move. There was no reason anyone should have been walking around out there. My phone light was off. We sat in complete darkness, paralyzed. Then, headlights. The same car. It had returned. Its beams lit up our tent like a spotlight. I ducked down. Anna clutched my arm. I peeked just barely through the window flap. I saw the driver. He slammed the door and sped off again. For a moment, I felt relief. Until I saw another car barreling down the same road behind him. A police car. Nothing happened after that, but we were done. We left the tent and sat in the locked car until sunrise. I stayed awake, watching the forest, gripping a pocket knife my dad kept in the glove box. We eventually dozed off, but it wasn't restful. When we woke up around 9 a.m., I told my mom everything, and she finally admitted something. "We heard the footsteps too," she said. "When they were near our tent, I heard breathing. Heavy, like someone was just standing there." She'd been frozen in fear. My dad slept through the whole thing. We packed up and left without even eating. The theme park that day felt unreal, like we were walking through a dream, pretending things were normal. But that night never left me, especially after I looked it up. The forest where we had camped, just a few months earlier, a man had been stabbed to death there. Gang-related. Even worse, 2 men had disappeared from that very beach. Never found. It's not always the dark you need to fear. Sometimes it's the things that come just before sunrise. There's a certain kind of fear that only children know. The kind that tells you, before your mind understands, that something is wrong. But what if that fear is the only thing keeping you alive? I was 6 years old when this happened. It's strange how clearly I remember it, how vivid it all still feels. Memories before that age are blurry, scattered. But this night, this one carved itself into my brain like it was trying to survive time. I shared a room with my older brother, Keith. He was 8. We slept upstairs. Our parents' bedroom was downstairs, so when the lights went off, it was just us up there, alone in the dark. One night, I don't know if it was a school night or summer, I woke up to Keith shaking me gently. His eyes were wide, serious. "Shh," he whispered. "Listen." I did. That's when I heard it. A voice, calling from downstairs. It was soft, whispery, warm. "Keith? Mikey?" My mom's voice, or it sounded like her. I pulled off the covers, ready to head down, but Keith grabbed my arm. "Don't," he said. "That's not Mom." His voice had this edge to it, like he was trying not to panic. I thought he was messing with me. I was mad, actually. "You're just trying to scare me," I said, but he just pointed to the door. "Go listen for yourself." So I did. I walked to the door and pressed my ear against it. The voice was clearer now, still soft, still inviting. "Keith, Mikey, come here." Something about the way it was saying our names chilled me. It was the right words, but off, too slow, too careful, like someone mimicking a voice they didn't fully understand. Just outside our room was a small hallway. To the right, the stairs to the first floor separated by a wooden door. We usually kept it shut. I unlocked that door, pulled it open just a sliver. I looked down, and there she was, a woman, standing at the bottom of the stairs, just within view. She was backlit, her face hidden in shadow, but I could see her shape. She wasn't moving. She was waiting. "Hi, sweetie," she said. "Come down." I shut the door so fast I nearly slammed my fingers in it, locked it, ran back to our room and locked that door too. I was shaking. Keith didn't say, "I told you so." He just nodded. We made a plan. On 3, we scream. We stomped, screamed, yelled like our lives depended on it, and maybe they did. It didn't take long. Footsteps thundered up the stairs, our parents yelling, confused. At first our dad was angry the door was locked, but the second they saw me crying, everything changed. We told them what we saw, what we heard. My mom's face went pale. "That wasn't me," she said softly. "I didn't call you." I remember asking what the woman looked like. We couldn't say, just a shadow, a shape, a voice. Our dad rushed downstairs. I don't know what he found, if anything. But later that night, we heard the doorbell ring. We peeked out our window and saw police lights. Our parents never told us what happened. Not then. Not ever. Years later, I brought it up over dinner, just casually asked, "Hey, remember that night with the voice on the stairs?" My mom froze for a second, then smiled, too quickly. "Just a random intruder," she said. but she wouldn't look me in the eyes. That still doesn't explain how she knew our names, or why the woman on the stairs waited instead of coming up. Sometimes it's not what's at the door you should fear. It's what's already inside, waiting on the stairs. The scariest monsters aren't hiding under your bed. Sometimes they walk right behind you. Sometimes they know your name. And worse, they know where you live. I was 16 at the time, still in high school. No car yet, so if I wasn't walking, I was begging for rides from my mom or texting friends. That night, my friend Haley invited a few of us over. Her parents weren't home, which meant the usual: music, junk food, gossip, and maybe one or two bad decisions. My mom dropped me off, said she'd be out late, and if I needed to come home, I could walk or find a ride. Translation: she was going on a date. There were 5 of us girls, chill vibes, until the boys showed up. Uninvited, at least to me. One of them was Brandon, a guy I had history with. The kind of history you don't want showing up in your safe space. Haley thought it'd be cute to try to fix things between us. I didn't think it was cute at all. After a while, I'd had enough. I left. It was about a 20-minute walk. Quiet suburban streets, empty sidewalks, that eerie stillness that creeps in when the world falls asleep. I was 5 minutes into the walk when I heard it. Footsteps, not mine, behind me, syncing with my pace. I turned. A man. Hoodie pulled over his head, hands in his front pocket. He smiled. "How you doing?" he said casually, like we were old friends. I gave a polite nod. "Hi." Kept walking. I checked my phone, texted Haley, told her I was being followed, then texted Brandon, the guy I didn't even want to see. "Can you come pick me up? Now." He was already on his way, but the man behind me didn't slow down. He kept following, turn after turn. He was still there. Every time I glanced back, he was just a little closer. "Isn't it a nice night?" he called. "Love this weather." I kept my responses short, firm. "Yeah." He laughed softly. "You from around here?" "No." My legs were shaking, but I didn't run. Not yet. Then he said something that made my blood run cold. "I'm not gonna hurt you. You live by the elementary school, right?" I stopped, turned. He stopped too, still smiling. That smile changed everything. It wasn't friendly anymore. It was predatory. I screamed, "Leave me alone!" And I ran, full sprint. He ran too. I screamed louder, blood curdling. "Help me! Someone help!" Windows lit up, porch lights flicked on. He cursed, "Shut up, you little—" But he kept running, until finally he vanished into the shadows. A couple stepped out of their house. I ran to them, sobbing, told them what happened. They kept me safe until Brandon pulled up. I jumped in the car, shaking. I got home just a minute later. My mom wasn't back yet. I was scared to be alone, so I invited Brandon in. He stayed. We talked. The adrenaline started to wear off. Then, footsteps, circling the house. We froze, outside, near the backyard. We heard the gate creak open. My mom never used the back gate. We tiptoed to the window upstairs. My room faced the yard. We didn't see anything. Then a voice, low, muffled, but crystal clear. "I see you up there." I gasped. Brandon yelled out the window, "We're calling the cops, you freak." And we did. The man was gone by the time they arrived, but they took it seriously. My mom got home soon after, completely shaken. She stayed up with me while the police patrolled the neighborhood for hours. I never walked alone at night again. A week later, my uncle came over, installed cameras on every side of the house, big, obvious ones. But even with security, I was never the same in that house. The man had known where I lived. He had followed me. And the worst part, I still don't know if I was just a random target, or if I'd been watched for a long time. Some stories end in survival. Others don't end at all, because long after the screams fade, long after the door is locked, you still feel them. The eyes in the dark, the voice in the hallway, the presence in the room when you know you're alone. These were 4 true stories, but who's to say they're the only ones? Sleep tight, if you can. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more real horror stories every week. Let us know in the comments. Which story haunted you the most?